Hey everyone, Due Process just got a really tight update that upgraded the game's engine to Unity 2021. This is a baby step towards better performance, but I think a lot of you will actually have better frame rates if you run the game in borderless window mode. Just to be clear, this isn't the big performance refactor, that's still going to come out at a later date, but this is a pretty nice little bonus. But it does come at a small cost. There's a little bit of instability with this version of the game, and you might notice some crashes on alt-tabbing, or some of these shaders or effects being broken, but that's all going to get addressed at a later date. I think it would be a good idea to discuss some of the future content in Due Process, the design challenges behind those things, and why I'm not making content. In regards to the latter, when I was working on weapon penetration, I learned that some of our favorite tile sets are actually getting overhauled. There's no sense talking about objects and mechanics that I know are not going to exist in the future, especially not with how long it takes me to research, write, and edit some of these informational videos. So instead, until the game state is in a more stable place, I'll take it one by one. One update at a time. That way, when there's a new update and it has a weapon or gadget, then you'll hear from me. And it will be a lot easier for me to address some of those things if that information becomes redundant or out of date. Though currently I am tempted to make a bank video at some point. It has a lot of tricks and strategies most people aren't aware of, so let me know if you want to see more tileset specific videos. Anyhow, the future of Due Process is once again bright, but I can't comment on exactly why I feel that way yet. Our good pals over at Giant Enemy Crab have informed me that some of the hurdles that kept them from releasing more consistent content updates are being resolved, and we'll likely actually see the return of the cart and the shield at some point in the not so distant future now. I highly recommend reading some of the comments made by Alexander Bard, the creative director for Due Process, over on the patch notes of the most recent update to the game. You can also check out several Q&As that he's done recently, and I think those offer a lot of valuable transparency that most other game studios don't offer when talking about difficult issues, like the content production pipeline in an indie game studio. But back to the design challenges of the cart and shield, I want to talk through some of those ideas. See, adding the shield is not just like adding the mesh of the shield into the game. And adding the cart? Yeesh, that thing is a tactical and technical nightmare. Not to mention how huge of an impact it has on the game's economy and strategy. First, you need the shield, so there's some counterplay to the cart. Cart comes later. Some of you don't realize just how difficult it is to implement something as powerful and unique as a tactical shield. So first, the designer would need to have a goal for how big the shield needs to be, and what its use case is. Next, the artist would then make the shield, model it, texture it, and if it has any moving parts, send it off to an animator for them to rig it for animation. But then we need to put it in the engine, so an engineer needs to write code that says you can pick up the shield and equip it and walk around with it, and then it also needs to block bullets. And if it needs to block bullets, then that means that a network engineer also needs to be involved so they can ensure that you aren't getting shot at through the shield. Okay, but if we did all that, but only that, then it would be the most broken item in the game. Okay, it blocks bullets, but there's no player collision. So now a defender just clips inside of you with a tub and... So that wouldn't feel great, and there would be no counterplay. What would be the counterplay? Praying to your team that they kill the tubber in a timely manner? That won't fly. Okay, cool. So now we need enemy collision, or at the very least, collision on the shield itself, and then we can make the shield so that we can make the cart. But I'm not done yet. Okay, so can you walk up to someone with a shield and then immediately drop it in front of them and blast them? Great, now the game is broken again. The engineer needs to develop a delayed drop and pickup system that might require help from the animator. Okay, so you slap that in the game, and say you lose a round. Well, the defender just takes your shield, and the next round they have a guy in the bomb site just sitting in a doorway blocking it. If you don't think that's a problem, remember, there's player collision in this example. So you literally can't get in the room. Alright, so now we need a dedicated way to remove the shield from the defender's hands that you can do no matter what. A disarm attack, a melee, the shield has an HP bar, something like that. You do all of that, finally, you have the first iteration of the shield. Shield 1.0. That's game dev. And that's exactly what I'm expecting from Gek in the months to come. So even though I wish we had the shield and the cart ages ago, I can understand why it's taking so long to develop some of these things. It requires a lot of help from a lot of members of the team to produce even one thing that's stable enough to put in a game that's already fairly polished otherwise. However, before they produce the shield, I think we're going to get some less daunting tactical gear or new weapons before then. So if you've never checked out the game's roadmap before and you're not sure where this game is going and what kind of content is on the horizon, this is a good time to read through it. Recently, I was made a community manager for this game, which doesn't mean much, it's just a volunteer position right now. But something that I did right away was rewrite a lot of the cards inside the roadmap to add some clarity and consistency throughout it, and to also teach you how to use the roadmap, because it's not really intuitive if you've never used an interactive roadmap before. Beyond that though, I also put out a new video on top of this one. The video in question I actually finished a while ago, but I left it on unlisted because I didn't want to release it without an accompanying video that better explained my thoughts about what's going on in the game. So go ahead and check that out as well. It'll be on the channel same day this video goes up. And with that, I leave you to it. Take care and have fun.